Police officers who have arrested other police officers. What happened? Me and my girlfriend Celia had been together for 6 months when she asked me if I wanted to meet her family. And by this point, I was sure that Celia was my future wife. So I kissed her forehead and said yes. Celia immediately glowed with excitement. Okay, great. And don't worry about it being awkward, babe. My sister's husband Lorcan will be there. And Lorcan's a cop too, just like you. So at least you'll have something to bond over. I nodded because that really did feel reassuring. It's always nice to have another brother in blue around. So we get to her parents' house, and I'm shaking hands, giving hugs, doing the whole meet the family thing when Lorcan walks in. He's wearing his police uniform, which I thought was weird since it was just a casual family dinner, but whatever. Some guys are proud of the badge. I get it. But then I actually looked at his uniform, and something felt off. The insignia police badge looked wrong. It looked like something you'd buy from a Halloween store, not something from a police station. I told myself I was being paranoid. Maybe I was just nervous and looking for problems. We were all halfway through our meal of white people chicken with no seasoning when Lorcan started talking about his police job. Yeah, I got a 10 to 70 call last week. It was really dangerous, but hey, all part of the job. My stomach dropped with confusion. A 10 to 70 wasn't a police code for anything dangerous. It was code for a car that was parked wrong. I stared at him to see if he was joking, but he wasn't. His mom looked at him with so much pride it actually hurt to watch. His mom spoke. We've canceled dozens of family vacations over the 7 years that Lorcan has been a cop because Lorcan got called into work at the last minute. But that's the price you pay when your son is out there saving lives, she sang. His dad chimed in, turning to face me and Lorcan. It's ridiculous how underpaid police officers like you guys are. We've had to lend Lorcan money multiple times to cover expenses, he said, shaking his head. Nothing was making sense. If Lorcan really had been a police officer for 7 years, then he would have been paid at least $80,000 a year. He wouldn't need to borrow money from his parents. I had to know more. I turned to face Lorcan and said, it's crazy how much union dues went up this year, right? If he really was a cop, he'd go into a 10-minute rant about politics. Instead, he just nodded and said, yeah, it's crazy. That's it. Any real police officer would have gone on and on about policy laws. That's when my girlfriend started bragging about how hard Lorcan works. He's always doing double shifts, she said. Lorcan nodded and chimed in. Yeah, I think I've been taking around 30 to 40 hours of overtime a week. His dad nodded approvingly. That's my boy. I almost choked on my water. No sergeant in any department approves that much overtime without an emergency. At this point, I was almost certain Lorcan wasn't a cop. But if he wasn't a cop, then what was he? Where was all that money going? Where was he all those nights when his family thought he was out saving lives? I excused myself to use the bathroom. Once I was alone, I pulled out my phone and ran Lorcan's name through our database. And when the results came back, my face drained of color. There was no record of him being a police officer anywhere. I walked back to the table feeling sick. This family had been bled dry by a lie, and they had no idea. And just when I'd hoped Lorcan would shut the F up, he kept going. He smiled and tapped his water glass with his fork. Now that everyone's here together, I think it's the perfect time to make an announcement. The table went silent. I got promoted to detective last month. Clap, clap, clap. His entire family started cheering for him. Rage boiled my blood. I couldn't take it anymore, so I said it. I ran your name in the database, Lorcan. You've never been a cop. Not here, not anywhere. The table went dead silent. Lorcan tried to laugh it off. Dude, chill. You're just jealous I made detective, and now you're trying to make me look bad. I laughed at how stupid he sounded. Okay, Lorcan, let's play a game. One where I talk and you listen. You said you responded to a 1047 last week. That's emergency road repair, Lorcan. Not exactly messy. I continued. No sergeant would approve 40 hours of overtime a week, ever. It exceeds the budget and would get someone fired. His mom looked confused. His dad put down his fork. I continued. And that insignia police badge? Cheap metal. That's not department issued. That's a costume. You've been lying about being a police